happy
Mhm.
that you're here. You won
Mhm.
18 hackathons, which is always insane for me to say. Do you have a specific number in mind? Like, are you trying to get to like 25 hackathon wins?
I mean, I hope I can get to 20 by the end of the summer,
Mhm.
but otherwise, I'm not sure when it will end. Like, I thought it would end last year, but somehow, like every weekend, I end up going to another one.
Every weekend?
So nearly every weekend, yes.
Wow, so how'd you find all these hackathons to go to every weekend?
So there's two resources I use to find hackathons. Number one is
Mm.
DevPost, and like they give you like a catalog of hackathons as soon as you enter, and you can like filter in by like your location. Um, and then the other resource is just like straight Googling and also word of mouth.
Mm.
Like once you get into the hackathon community, like it's kind of hard to avoid finding hackathons.
That's a real. Okay. DevPost is definitely a great resource because they have a lot of virtual hackathons as well, right? That you can like do just from your
Mhm.
house.
Yeah,
Have you
exactly.
done a lot of those, or are you mostly an in-person girly?
I come in person for the food, bro.
Oh, very important. Very, very important. Okay, that's great to hear. And when you go to a hackathon, like, when you land on ground, or say if you sign up for a virtual one, after you've gotten a team, what are the first steps that you usually take?
The first steps are to immediately center the idea because, like, even if you go into the hackathon with an idea, when you see like the skill sets of your teammates,
Mhm.
they don't always align completely.
Mm.
Um, and I mean, the win rate for like coming up with an idea beforehand versus like coming with up with an idea more catered to your team is like pretty similar. But just like see if your team agrees with your initial idea, and if not, immediately get an idea together because some hackathons like the idea ends up being solidified halfway through the hackathon, and it's like a time crunch. So it's like within the first 2 hours, like have the idea completely set.
Okay. So out of your 18 wins, what are the top three
Mhm.
ideas that you've enjoyed building with the team?
The top three ideas were actually the last hackathon was so epic. That one was a project that used the multimodality of the Vision 4.0 model of OpenAI
Mhm.
and allowed you to upload a standardized food receipt and give you a crypto return. So it incentivized users to um, donate to food banks and then get incentive and get crypto rewards in return.
Oh, and how did y'all come up with that idea?
We sort of had a prompt based on the track. Uh, like once we got to the hackathon, we saw the competition and we were like, okay, we have to go for like a more niche track. So we went for the Boston Consulting Group track, which was more based on like how to make food more sustainable or like actions that are more sustainable revolving food. So then we decided to do food banks.
Oh, and then when you decided to do food banks, you had decided on the track. How did you narrow it down to this like super niche idea of incentivizing people donating to food banks?
Um, to get even narrower on the idea, we had to look from a consumer perspective.
Mhm.
Like a lot of the idea generation is how would you actually use this idea as like a user, and it also helps with like user flow of building your app technically. Um, once you like look at what you would want in the app if you used it yourself, everything becomes a bit easier with ideas.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So you're building things that you would be able to use or you would actually want to use ideally. Nice.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
what is the biggest mistake you see newbies make at hackathons?
Hmm. I guess the idea solidifying thing was a mistake. Yeah, that's a pretty common mistake of not prepping like potential ideas beforehand. Like no building before the hackathon, but there's many ways to like brainstorm or set aside like a focus so that when you get into the hackathon, you are more centered into like your strategy.
Mm,
Um, that is the biggest mistake because a lot of people worry about like how they're going to do technically. Like, do I need to know this coding language?
mhm.
Do I need to know this this framework, but it really is just um, shipping out an app as best as you can, and with that, it comes like a very like a solid idea that everyone is invested in.
Okay, that makes sense. Now, I love that you say a lot of people worry about, the technical knowledge that they have, whether they're gonna be ready with knowledge of a certain framework or programming language. Because I've had a few girlies ask me about that. So I wanted to ask you in return, how do you learn about or learn a programming language or framework quickly enough to build something that uses it for the hackathon, or would you rather just not do that, during the hackathon process?
So since I was a business major when I went to my first few hackathons, I didn't even know like what could be solved and what couldn't be solved. Like I would just like see a framework or like a feature that I wanted to implement, and I assumed that it was just totally possible because because like there's no precedent and there's like no background. So then I would just like persist in solving the issue, and with that mindset, a lot of the issues did get solved. Um, like when people have like predetermined expectations for themselves on like what they know and what they don't know, or what can be solved and what can't be solved, um it sort of gets into your head where like you don't think you can actually solve or build this feature.
Right.
And that said, at the hackathon, the best way to learn quickly is to hone in on that feature that you got from that solid idea. And if it's like let's say it's like a matching app, um, for like women to uh, get car rides together, you probably need to know the location of the girls. So you establish that as your feature, and then that's where you start Googling. And some good resources are usually to start with YouTube videos,
Mhm.
um, and then uh, it'll like walk you through every step of the code to implement that feature. And in that way, you don't need to learn the entire framework. You can learn about one way to implement the feature into that framework.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense. So ideally, you can go in with minimal knowledge and kind of learn how to do the little things that you want to do along the way with YouTube.
Mhm.
Or would you recommend ChatGPT or Claude or no?
I would. I actually would. Um, I'd say a combination of both. First of all, go the YouTube route. Because like search up geolocation with Next.js, geolocation with React, or whatever framework and whatever feature.
Yeah.
Um, and then use ChatGPT to debug.
Okay. That
Like
makes,
debugging with ChatGPT is actually so good. Mhm.
well, I've heard mixed reviews, but that makes sense. That makes sense for real.
Yeah, it depends. Like Stack Overflow and GPT, like as a combination.
Yeah, that makes sense. And apart from GPT, Stack Overflow, YouTube, are there any other tools or resources that you particularly like to use during hackathons?
Mm, no, it's primarily Stack Overflow,
Okay,
GPT, and YouTube.
okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. So overall, how many hackathons have you actually attended so far? We know you won 18, but how many have
Hmm.
you attended if you've been keeping count?
Yeah, I've been keeping count pretty meticulously. Um, I have like this hackathon tracker where I like manage all my stats, almost like a video game actually. But yeah, I've attended 24 hackathons.
And you've won
And
18 out of the 24?
yes,
You need flowers. After this, you have to
hey,
send me your address. You need more awards. Wow, that's impressive.
yeah, yeah. Thank you to your love for the whole community too. Like, turns out I was in your Discord server before like I even met you on Instagram. Like, I was somehow
That's so
like there.
cool. Well, talking about the
Mhm.
community, I forgot. I was just amazed. I completely forgot this was even for the community. How do
Yeah.
you think your participation and your victory and just your journey with hackathons have influenced your ability to get a job at Meta?
Hmm. Um, I'd say it made me more of like a scrappy programmer, as in like I'm able to take different parts of I'm able to like learn which features need to go into the application, and also like debugging skills, like learning on the fly. just being like in the environment of hackathons and like that intensity carries into like explaining my projects for the interview, and also like demonstrating that I can build.
Mm,
Yeah.
that makes so much sense. Well, 15 minutes is up. You're a busy, busy person, not taking more of your time, but I'm so
Thank you.
thankful that you joined us here today. Do you have any last
Yes.
words, you know?
I was just asking, like, how do you manage like such a big community, bro? Like, this is like a personal question. I don't know, like, if it's supposed to be in the recording, but I was like, I think you're it's, like super community oriented, and I'm like more like
Well,
solo. Uh huh.
I kind of just figure it. I really love people and I really want to see the girlies win. I don't even know how to really put it into words. So I'm
Hmm.
constantly thinking of different ways to reach out to people, to get insights from people. Because I'm
Yeah.
a second year, and that's not even an excuse because you're a second year too and you're still doing amazing. But I'm a second year and I don't think I have all the answers. But I know I have the ability to reach out to people and find the answers and distribute that knowledge to other girls. So my main, tasks daily is really gathering knowledge and figuring out ways to share them. In terms of managing the communities, like handling the Discord or the school community, I definitely bring people on to help me because I don't think everybody can do
Mhm.
everything by themselves. And I have an
Yeah.
amazing girly Jay managing the Discord. She's like completely in charge now and she does a great job. And then I have a couple other people helping me manage the school community as well. So what I do is just like go out and get all the knowledge to come share it with the girlies as much as I can.
Yeah, delegation I feel like is like one of the main things for like working with other people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yay. Now I can ask where you got the hat from.
Yes. So I got the hat from Amazon. Like, actually, my hackathon friend, or just my friend, ordered the hat from Amazon as like a gift, and ever since then, I've worn it to every hackathon.
Aw, is it like your lucky charm for a hackathons?
It's intimidation.
Okay, you're intimidating the other fellows. Okay, that's so slick. So should we take notes? Should we buy this from Amazon if we want to intimidate other hackathon participants?
Mm, I'd say it makes you more memorable, honestly. Like
Mm,
even with like the judges and stuff. But I mean, where like it is also like mostly like item of support. Like I remember my friend whenever I wear it. So
no,
I
that makes sense. That
Mhm.
makes sense. Okay, now I can get into the serious questions.
Meow meow. Okay.
Actually, it wasn't even the internet. I was trying to put my laptop on Do Not Disturb and I mistakenly pressed the sleep
Oh.
button. I'm actually
No.